Hey, what's going on, guys? Just wanted to do a video on how you could use Excel to build different stock indicators and backtest different strategies, see like probabilities and statistics, but without the complex work of learning how to code and do all that kind of stuff with Python and other computer languages. So Excel is like the perfect middle ground, I think, for people that just kind of want to analyze data, and I'm going to show you guys how to use this in a very basic way. You could do all kinds of indications with it, like RSI, MACD, stochastics, and anything that you can mathematically calculate with other platforms. You can do this with Excel. But for this video, we're going to do a very simple thing, basically figure out how to get a buy or sell a signal, and figure out how much money it makes or loses doing that particular strategy. And so basically what you're going to first need is you're going to need some historical data, obviously. A way to do this for free is you can go to your internet, you can go to Yahoo Finance. Just go type in finance.yahoo.com, and you can type in, like, let's say SPY, the S&P 500 ETF. You can go to historical data, and you could just copy paste this. And keep in mind, when you do it this way, you're going to have to flip the dates upside down. And I can kind of show you guys how to do that as well later on in this video or in another video. But it's pretty self-explanatory. You just copy paste this and you'll find the link to basically flip these numbers to where the historical data goes down, because that's kind of how you're going to want to test it. But what I do is I use a service called excelpricefeed.com. It's a really great service that I use. It's like $15 a month or something. And you can download it in your Excel. So you can see here Excel price feed. And you can do live data every, refresh it every 10 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, all that kind of stuff. But they have a configuration pane here, and that will basically give you a feed for whatever that you're looking to do. So for this example, we'll just do the SPY, SP 500 ETF. As you can see here, make sure it's that. Click on it, go to historical data. Today's March 19th, 2023. So let's just say we want to go back a year. Um, we'll just do March 1st. But as you can see, there's a resolution period, different intervals like monthly, weekly, daily, 5 minute, all that kind of stuff. So we'll do the daily. There's also fields here that gives you the symbol, high, low, open, all that kind of stuff. We're just going to keep that at the close for now to keep this simple. So we'll take out the volume as well. And then we just hit download data. It'll give us a time here, show us the time of each one, the date, and all that. And then these are the closing prices for each one of those dates. And for this example, we're just going to do like a 10 moving average, to keep it really simple. And how we would do that is we want to first figure out the 10 moving average. Okay. And then we're going to say, like, if the price of the stock is higher than the 10 moving average, what tends to happen, and when it's lower, then what tends to happen. So we're going to take 10 bars down. And a way we can do that is we click on the top bar, hold shift on the keyboard to pick different ones. See, that's 12. So we want to do 11, and that's 10. You could also count them. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or all that kind of stuff. But just do that. Click that. You'll see the rows here. So that's 10 rows. So we're into the next bar here. We're going to say equals average. Make sure you put the equal sign in there. So as you can see, equals average. And then we're going to average the last 10 bars. And it will show you that as well here. Click that. And boom, that's going to give you the average price of the last 10 bars here. And then what we're going to do to pull that all the way down is just click that bar, this little bottom right corner here, click that, and it'll give you the 10 moving average of all of this. So as you can see here, this is B2 to B11, this one's B3 to B12, this one's B4 to B13, and it just keeps stringing the 10 moving average along. Okay, to keep that simple, we'll right here, we'll just put the 10 MA, or let me do capitals, makes it a little easier to see. So 10 moving average, and then I'll just highlight this in like a yellow just so you guys can see it easier. And so our question now is the closing price higher than the 10 moving average? Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to ask this question to Excel in an if statement. So we're going to say equals if parentheses. So now we have a logical test. So that's going to say if this does this, then value if that is true, and if not, the value that's false. So what we want to know is the closing price higher than the 10-day moving average. So what we're going to say is the closing price here, B11, greater than, just like you learned in school, greater than, less than symbols, just a little sideways arrow. Is B11 greater than C11? So is the close greater than the 10 moving average? And now that's our logical test. So now we're going to hit a comma and we're going to say the value of that if that statement is true, and then we're going to have another one that the value is false. For this, what I like to do is just use 1 and -1. It makes it really simple, and you'll see why. So I'll say if B11 is greater than C11, then give me a 1. If not, now another comma. Here's see the comma that I just entered in. If not, give me -1. Close that parentheses, and you're done with that statement. So now now you see 394 is higher than 386, so it's a 1. And you drag that down, and as you can see, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's 1. This one's a -1 because 389 is lower than 391. So that's going to kind of give you, basically, that's just going to kind of tell you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this whole row just to give it some visibility. Click on conditional formatting, go down to color scales, and then just click that. And that will give you a bunch of indication. As you can see, the green ones, these numbers are higher than those. In the red, these numbers are lower than those. And so that's telling you if it's above or below the 10 moving average. So now what we want to do to actually test this in theory and see how much money it potentially could have made or lost, we want to figure out based on a buy signal or a sell signal. Okay. Theoretically, and a lot of times you can do the opposite of these things and so forth. So we want the future change. So keep in mind right here, we're at the 11th bar. So we want to figure out the future change of one link up to match it with this. That way, because if it gave us a green bar, we won't realize the result of that signal until the next bar, if that makes sense. Okay, so we want the future change. So we say equals the future change. So it's going to be B12 minus the present change, B11. So that's going to give you what you could have made if you followed this signal. Okay, so we're going to drag that down. And something to keep in mind with this is you always want to go all the way to the bottom, because you're always going to have this outsized number here, because what it's doing is it's taking 0 minus 390 to give it a negative 390. So you're going to want to make sure that's 0, because this technically hasn't happened yet. Another way you can do it is just hitting control, which is on the left bottom hand of the keyboard, or left bottom of the keyboard. You can hit control up arrow to go up, or you can hit control down arrow to go all the way to the bottom. And that's another little shortcut how you can get there. So now you have your future change, and now you're going to use the signal. So you're going to do another if statement. So you're going to say equals if. You're going to say equals if this equals 1, and that equaling 1 is if this is higher than this. So if the close is higher than the 10 moving average. You could also to completely skip this whole step here and say equals if this is greater than this, then the result. But I like to keep this here to kind of keep things more simple. And I still do this all the time. But anyway, so you're going to say equals if D11 equals 1. That means this is greater than this. Then, with a comma, then give me this. If not, give me a 0. Okay? You're going to drag it down. And now you're going to see all the ones that are -1 will always be zeros, and all the ones that have a 1 are going to give you a result of future change. This is to see how well this strategy is working. And now for this side, you're going to do the other way. You're going to say equals if the indication equals a -1 instead of 1, then give you the future change value, if not a 0. So now it's going to do the opposite, to where all the greens will be zeros and all the reds are going to give you a result. Seeing how well this all worked. And now we want to add it all up to just to see how well it works. So to add everything up in Excel, you use the sum function. So you're going to say equals sum, and you're going to click this, and you're going to go all the way down to the bottom. Hold the shift bar, click on that. It will highlight all of these, F11 through F18, and then just click enter, and that's going to give you the result of how well that worked. And another way you can do it is you can say equals sum, and then you can click the top bar and hold shift control and then hit the down arrow, and it'll go all the way to the bottom. That's another easier way of doing it. Another thing I want to point out is if you summed up the Excel is very versatile, so if you summed up this entire range, then you can slide this bar over and it will sum up this range now. So another way you can do it is if you deleted that and you already calculated this, you can just pull this bottom right little square, pull it over, and it's going to sum all of this. It's just another way to do it. So you can see in this strategy, you are better off going short above the 10-day. When the price was above the 10 moving average, you're better off going short. And when it was below the 10-day moving average, you're better off going long, because you made 39 points up and negative 43 points. Another way you can look at this dynamically, if you wanted to calculate the cumulative, basically make this an accumulator where you want to add, okay, you made 2.3, but now you lost 50 cents. You're at like 1.85 or so, and then you made $1.35, so now you're back up a little bit above 3, and now you lost 587, so now you're -2. A way you can add that up is just accumulate it. So you can say equals this plus this, so you want to add the first two of these, and now you're going to say equals the next change plus this plus your accumulator. And that will give you like a cumulative line of the addition of all of the points on the long side. And then you could add in chart. You can insert chart here. And that will kind of give you like the volatility of that strategy, things like that. And now you can do the same thing for the negative side. So this is the negative side. We're going to add this plus this. And then we're going to add this plus the third one plus our accumulator. And that will give you that whole indication. And then boom. You can put them together as well. What I like to do is go to the bottom, control down, control shift, highlight these two, hold control, go back up, and now you can see them together, kind of like how they correlate, things like that. So that's one way to do it. Another thing you could do is you could always change the average around. So this was a 10. So now let's just say, so we're going to keep average. So let's just say we want the 5 average. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're at 5 moving average. Close that. Just the top one changes. Click that. Now all of them will change. And that's going to give you the results of that. Once again, you're way better off shorting above the 5 moving average when the price closes above, and then going along when the price closes below. And also keep in mind that strategies, they shift over time. There really is no like magical one, I don't think, especially when it comes to like basic technical analysis. That works all the time. So really keep that in mind. Like some years, certain strategies could be really basic and be major home runs, but doesn't mean they're going to work the next year and the year after that. But part of this is like the founding block, and then you can build strategies that adapt and do all kinds of other things. And yeah, I mean, I could show you guys how to do like RSI, MACD, stochastics, all kinds of things, ways to maybe build your own indication, how to build a timer, because that's something I have as well. Basically, what my timer does is I use Excel price feed to update it every 5 minutes. So I have SPY here. I can go to live data, hit price, and let's just say I wanted to see Microsoft and all kinds of other ones, as many as you want. You can do price. So you can do Apple as well, price. And every 5 minutes, these will update. Obviously, the market's closed right now, so they're not going to update. But when it's open, it'll update every interval you want, and you could actually you could build a thing with a little bit of VBA code on how to get this data and price it out here every 5 minutes. So it would just go down like a string, and then you could use that string to like kind of automate some of the process. And I could show you guys some of that. Like, I'll just show you guys a brief introductory of like what I've built over the years. And so this is what I built. It's pretty automated to where it's constantly updating every 5 minutes based on recording data. So that's why, like, I'm sure there's a lot of people with a lot of questions on that. It's extremely hard to find any useful videos, especially that correlate stocks and the timer together. Like, I've never seen such a thing. I just kind of had to piece this together over time. So if you're interested in that, but as you can see, I like my indicator. I have a lot of my own custom indications that I've built, but I also have something basic things like MACD, like is the MACD up or down? This tells me if it's trending up, if it's trending down, down red, up green, could be more simple. MACD, is the MACD crossed up or is it crossed down? Is the RSI you can see Intel's near oversold, things like that. These are just the 5 Bollinger Bands, and this is basically just the 20 Bollinger Band. How far extended is it? Like, you can see Cisco's at the top of the Bollinger Band. You can see 3M's at the top, Walmart. And basically, that's just a way I can analyze like 75 different stocks really with one sheet. And that's kind of like the powerful side of this. I think that we're in this stage of time with stocks where like everybody kind of has to have some sort of like system and different kind of indication to kind of keep up with everything, unless if you just got the time to like really analyze a lot of things. um and I also could totally agree, like I don't just trade every single one of these stocks. A lot of these I look as like the bigger picture. Personally for me, like I trade like maybe 10 to 15 different stocks, and mainly the bigger ones, the Microsoft, Apple, Meta, Tesla, Boeing, like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I do to use Excel. Here's the timer. Basically, it takes these, you hit these buttons, and it will record this out every 5 minutes. You can do it 10 minutes, you can do it 15 minutes. I can show you guys how to write a little bit of outside script to make that functional. I'm sure a lot of people are actually looking for that. But yeah, I mean, it's really fun to like analyze a lot of things. It's helped me. I mean, it's been life changing for me as far as trading goes, as far as like keeping your emotions in check and all that kind of stuff, and just being able to build something that's proprietary to you is really cool. Or if you just want to, analyze things a lot quicker, um, yeah, that's another way as well. And but yeah, I'm trying to think if I left anything out. Um, like I said, I can show you guys how to do a lot of different things on here, because anything you can calculate on any stock platform, you can calculate with Excel, because that's really all any of those indicators are, is just a bunch of math. There's hundreds of different formulas you can use. A lot of them I don't even understand yet. I'm still learning a lot of this stuff. Like I said, I'm not really computer tech savvy or any way, but I'm like a nerd when it comes to like wanting to analyze like stock data and trying to figure out like probabilities of like how much money you might make then and stuff. But like I said, I could show you guys timers. I could show you guys how to pull the very last bar up and bring it to the top, that data. That way you can actually make kind of like an automated machine, and other ways to back test. And it's really cool, honestly. It's perfect for the amateur coder, if you will. And because Excel kind of gives you a framework to at least build it around, and it still takes some thought and all that. But I think this could be helpful for a lot of people that are looking for something like this. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Let me know what I can work on, all that kind of stuff. And let me know in the comments what you guys might want to see. I'm not like a top expert in this, but I could tell you how to build a lot of different things because this is something I've worked on for a long time. So there's a lot of different little helpful things I could probably come up with. But ask any question you'd like in the description, and I can make more videos on this series. And sorry for rambling on, and I will wrap up the video here. Appreciate you guys watching, especially this far. Have a great day out there, and definitely happy trading. And peace out, guys.